you've just tuned into Women's AM. This morning I am joined by Sister Nusrat, Sister Laika, and our special guest, Sister Naveed. Alhamdulillah. Welcome back, sisters, from the break. Sister Naveed, mashallah, you're a mum. You also do a da'wah in the community as well. But now with Ramadan coming up, we're so close. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, subhanAllah. We don't know yet. How are you going to manage all of that?
SubhanAllah, I think when you've just put your mind to it, it just becomes easy. When you just accept the fact that this is your reality, you are a dawah carrier, that is what you do in your day-to-day life. And kids, they're part of your life, cooking, cleaning, you know, keeping up with, you know, what's happening around you in the community. It's just part of naturally who you are. You then organise your time, you put things into perspective, you, you know, organise your day, your week, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps you. It's just about being organised more than anything else, and accepting that this is coming, and it's one of the things that you have to do. Ramadan is approaching us, so when am I going to wake up for sahur? When am I going to pray my tarawih? When am I going to put the kids to bed? So it's about organising it in that manner, and the weekends and the weekdays may vary, but you just have to do what you need to do.
Alhamdulillah, it's a good thing though. It's coming up to summer holidays, so the kids will be able to enjoy Ramadan, part of Ramadan.
Kids will have holidays on the last day of Ramadan, or it'll just be Eid.
Oh, subhanAllah, that's such a shame.
Yeah, so, yeah, just when it's all over.
Oh, well, at least you'll have energy for the summer holiday then, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Well, let's get cracking on to our next segment, Her Views, where we talk about the history of Ramadan. All praises to Allah, Lord of the worlds, He who revealed in His glorious Quran, O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those who came before you, and that you may keep your duty to your Lord. This is from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 185. And may blessings and peace of Allah be upon His last messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We all know that Ramadan is prescribed upon the Muslims, but some of us today have a misconception about fasting and the activities of a fasting person. What is the history of Ramadan, and what great accomplishments have the Muslims achieved during this blessed month? As always, this is a live discussion with the sisters on the panel, and we'd love to know what you think. Please do call into the studio to put your comments or questions to the panel. The number is on your screens now, or you can tweet us at Islam Channel, #WAM15. So Nusra, I'm going to come to you first. What was fasting like before Islam?
Well, we found that before Islam and in other religions, stipulations of fasting varied in terms of duration and abstention. So some people only abstained from food and drink up until a certain point, and some people, for example, said that you could only eat certain foods. So, for example, within Judaism, we find that fasting was something done by Moses, and that's mentioned in the Old Testament or in the Torah the Torah and the Old Testament of the Bible, where it's quoted when Moses fasted, when I was gone up into the mountain to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of covenant which the Lord made with you, then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. I neither did eat bread nor drink water. So we see that Moses fasted within the Jewish scripture, and fasting for Jewish people meant completely abstaining from food and drink, including water. We find within the Christian context, for example, fasting is mentioned in the book of Isaiah, which is chapter 58 of it, verses 6 to 7, where it's referred to as the acceptable fast. So it's not just about abstaining from food and water, but also engaging in the commands of Allah, which is helping the oppressed and helping the poor. It's also mentioned within the New Testament of Matthew, about chapter 4, verse 2, about how Jesus didn't eat anything for 40 days and 40 nights. And at the end of that, he was hungry. So it talked about how even Jesus fasted. So this is something that prophets of old have done. And within Roman Catholicism, fasting is taken in a technical term. So it's the reduction of one's food intake to just one meal. And so with some people vary it to mean that it's complete abstention, or partial abstinence can be prescribed, in the sense that some Catholics, my mum, for example, is a Catholic, and she may not eat meat on a Friday to observe that. So it kind of differed. It's only until the advent of Islam that actually stipulations and ways of determining it were laid down.
SubhanAllah, but it's interesting to see that, you know, all these faiths, these Abrahamic faiths of all have the fasting, SubhanAllah. But like, how was it prescribed?
So it was prescribed in Surah Al-Baqarah in verse 185 that you mentioned earlier. In the Quran it says, so whoever of you sights the moon, so we're talking about the lunar calendar, he must observe fast in that month. So it's specified, it's within that month. And whoever is ill or on a journey, the same number of days which one did not observe fast must be made up from other days. So Allah tells us that, you know, if we're ill or we're traveling, it must be made up in a certain amount of time. Allah intends for you ease, and He does not want to make things difficult for you. I think that's really important, because we think of it as a whole month that we're fasting, but we don't understand that, you know, there's certain rules there that make it easy for us. So when women are going through a certain time in their lives, they don't have to fast, and they're allowed to make it up for it.
Can I just add that it's really interesting to read about and to know and to hear about the fact that fasting was actually an essential matter for all the faiths, that all the prophets and the messengers came with, and therefore it's one of the things that makes it the greatest act of worship even in Islam. And even in the Arabian society, it's what people did as well. So apart from the people of the book, others also did fasting in whatever form that they did. And it is also noted when you read that Jesus was one of the people that he actually taught a lot about fasting and how fasting is essential. So it's really interesting to see it from that perspective.
I mean, fasting is one of those things. I think it teaches us to have that self-restraint, which is important during Ramadan, because we're learning to sort of refresh all the things that we'd lost during the year. But subhanAllah, when it comes to Ramadan, a lot of people tend to have misconceptions about what they can and can't do during Ramadan and how active they are. But what can we glean from the examples of past Muslims and the Sahabas about what activities they used to engage in during Ramadan?
I think
Naveed?
One of the first things that the Sahaba really understood was that the month of Ramadan was about celebrating the arrival of the Quran, and this was very, very key to the Sahaba, and they really understood this and they took this on completely. They actually believed in the Quran, the words of the Quran. And when we actually look to the purpose of the Quran, it can actually be divided down into 5 sections, I think, which is that is there to be read, to be understood, to be implemented, and to be carried to the society as well. It has many rights over us, and when you understand that you want to implement it holistically in every single aspect of your life, hence when we read about the Sahaba, I have a quote here that says it was from the traditions of the Sahaba that they would prepare for Ramadan 6 months in advance, and they would pray to Allah for forgiveness and pray that Ramadan would arrive in a time where they are at the peak of their iman. So not at the lowest level of their iman as how we feel that we reach when Ramadan is approaching, like I need to rejuvenate my iman, I need to become a better Muslimah, but the fact that they wanted to approach Ramadan at the peak of their iman. And for 5 months after the completion of Ramadan, the Sahaba would ask Allah to accept their deeds, that they'd wish that their Ramadan actually would have been accepted. So not just going out with Eid and forgetting your Salah and your covering, etc., but actually taking it on in that manner.
SubhanAllah, I think it kind of reminds me of back in the day when I was younger, you know, the sort of things that I used to get up to during Ramadan. And I think it might be true for a lot of young people, is that they kind of, especially now that it's in the summer, you know, you tend to kind of sleep the entire day, make it easier for yourself, just get up when it's Salah, and then kind of wait on iftar to happen. And it's kind of, and that's one of the things that we find today, isn't it, subhanAllah, with young people, or even with you know, the older generation. Some might take time off work, you know, when it comes to Ramadan, thinking that, oh, I'm just going to, you know, take it easy, you know.
People actually reorganize, their whole timetable just for Ramadan. So they're going to sleep through the day, stay awake through the night, because now suhoor is so early and iftar is so late. And what they do is, by rejigging their whole timetable, you're actually losing out on reward. You're losing out on reward for actions that you would do through the day.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
sorry, I can carry on talking forever.
I think good points, I very much have benefited actually from
and
that.
it's even in terms of making dua, having family ties, praying tarawih, doing dawah, doing charity, all of these things.
Just being productive, isn't it, during the month? I think when you said earlier on the show, you said to plan, to organise your time is so important, because time just flies. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So by organising, you'll get a lot more done during the day. I think for me especially, when I'm with my mum, I don't really help that much in the kitchen. Like, this Ramadan, inshallah, because I know how difficult it is. She's fasting as well, and we always, as children, we forget. You know, your mum is like superwoman. You forget that she's fasting too.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
I think really as well, it comes back to sometimes the ritualistic understanding that we have when it comes to fasting. Some people kind of compartmentalize Islam and think, okay, because I'm doing it this month, I have to be a certain way, and it's only restricted to that kind of way. obviously, the god of Ramadan is the god of Shawwal, god of Muharram. It's ever constant. Yeah. And the way people like Abdullah ibn Masud, their approach to the Sahaba's approach to Ramadan is something that we can all take from. When he was in a gathering during Ramadan, not just during Ramadan, but generally, but specifically during Ramadan, he would make sure that his company and his surroundings were something that facilitated good manners, good character, and something that helped him draw closer to Allah. So if he was in a gathering of people that were backbiting and were indulging in vain talk, he'd take himself out of there. He wasn't going to be in the company of people like that. We even find that during the last 10 days, the Prophet went into seclusion to contemplate and to engage in the remembrance of God. And even Anas ibn Malik used to do circles of knowledge, so halaqas. So this shows that generally we should not restrict Ramadan to being one where we just engage in just being staying or just being completely unproductive. Even the Sahaba's living proof that even when you have work, you can still find a way and still be productive in the light of that month of fasting. There's always never a bad time to keep gaining that kind of reward.
And also it's understanding the fact that everything is ibadah. So cooking is ibadah, cleaning is ibadah, working is ibadah, and the fact that how in Ramadan your normal actions, you get the reward of a fard, and the fard are multiplied by 70, and that in itself should be an initiative to build up your bank balance and to want to do more, inshallah.
Jabir ibn Abdullah said that the day you're fasting and the day you're not fasting, they shouldn't be the same. So there needs to be a difference in the way you're behaving and the way you're acting. You know, we said the Sahaba used to prepare 6 months in advance. Nowadays, when Ramadan comes around, I was talking to my friends the other day, and it was like, oh, Ramadan's coming. I was like, we should be excited, you know, we should be prepared for this, and, you know, we be ready for whatever the month brings, you know?
SubhanAllah. I think we tend to kind of, like you said, we switch up our entire timetable, and then we do exactly what we're not meant to do, and we turn night into day and day into night. So the things that, like you said, the things that we could be taking advantage of in the long, you know, daytime period, we kind of lose out on all the reward that we could be gaining from that. SubhanAllah, it's such a sad thing to see that we should be taking advantage of the fact that we have so many daylight hours. There's so much that we could be doing. SubhanAllah, we can even be engaging the community in this time. Like as you're a dawah carrier, mashallah, this is an opportunity as well. Jazakallah khair for that, sister. So far, the discussion has been very informative, but we will be going for a short break now. But just before that, a reminder of this week's competition.
This week in Women's AM, we are holding an exciting competition for you sisters out there. Up for grabs are 2 tickets for events organised by the Dawah Project. This is your chance to win a ticket to an Arabic calligraphy workshop with Sulaf Khalif. As well as that, we are also giving away a ticket to a bridal bouquet workshop with Shapla Aziz. This course will equip you to prepare for the wedding season and surprise the bride and bridesmaid with their special bouquet. To be in with a chance to win this fabulous prize, all you have to do is answer the following question. Which companion had the nickname The Roman? Was it A. Salman, B. Bilal, C. Suhaib, D. Najashi? To enter, email your answer to womensam@islamchannel.tv along with your name and address and what you like most about Women's AM. The deadline for entries is Friday 19th of June 2015 at 4 p.m. All applicants need to be over 18 and residing in the UK. Please note only 1 entry per person per household. A winner will be randomly selected from the correct entries and the winner's name will be announced on Monday's show, so get entering.
Some great prizes and opportunities to increase your skills. Stay where you are as we'll be back in a few minutes to continue our discussion, inshallah. See you after this. Assalamu alaikum.